71% of the Earth's surface is covered by ocean waters. Of this vast area, it is estimated that 80% is not only completely unexplored, but there are currently no detailed maps representing it. We can confidently say that we know more details about the surface of the Moon than we do about the Earth's ocean depths. This makes the deep sea one of the last unexplored frontiers of our planet. Places full of potential scientific discoveries and mysteries waiting to be solved. And there are indeed many mysteries in the ocean depths. Places that, if explored systematically, could rewrite much of our history. If this statement seems bold to some, we are confident that after watching the video, you will reconsider, as we will share the details of an incredible discovery made in the calm waters of the Mediterranean, providing a clear idea of just how much we still don't know about our past, and how the history we know is very likely to be rewritten in the coming years. Well, before we embark on this fascinating journey into the ocean depths, as always, we invite you to subscribe to the channel to support our work and not miss the upcoming videos.
The absolute absurdity of this regular wall amazed me a little. I immediately realized that the formation in front of me, so regularly arranged, could not be of the same volcanic nature as the rest of the seabed in that area.
These extraordinary words come from Captain Raimondo Boucher. For those unfamiliar with him, it's necessary to quickly explain who he is, so that everyone can grasp the authority of his testimony. Raimondo Boucher was born on January 25, 1912 in Fiume, which at the time was still part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. However, in 1924, the town was annexed to the Kingdom of Italy and remained part of it until World War II, when it was renamed Rijeka and ultimately annexed by the former Yugoslavia. After Yugoslavia's dissolution in the 1990s, it became a town in Croatia. The turbulent history of Fiume is emblematic of how human events have shaped this region in just a few years. And if all these upheavals occurred in just a few decades, imagine all the changes that could occur in a territory over millennia of history. Today, we will talk about just such a millennial story, one that fades into the mists of time and seemingly left no trace. But let's close this digression and return to our story. As we were saying, Boucher was born in 1912 in Fiume, and from a very young age, he was set on a military career that would see him serve as a pilot in the Regia Aeronautica, the Air Force of the Kingdom of Italy. At least, that was the case until World War II, when Boucher discovered a passion for the sea, and in particular, for diving. This passion quickly made him one of the pioneers of underwater diving, and his feats and depth records became known worldwide, captivating an entire generation. Boucher was also an exceptional underwater explorer. In 1956, during a reconnaissance flight over the Gulf of Naples, he noticed mysterious structures beneath the waters of the Gulf. This prompted him to dive and discover the ancient city of Baiae, a thriving town from Roman times that, due to predating, a volcanic phenomenon causing the rise and fall of the ground, had been submerged by the sea and forgotten. While this discovery gained significant attention and was well accepted by official science, just a few years later, in 1957 to be exact, what Commander Boucher would discover did not meet the same fate. In the summer of 1957, Boucher, along with his brother, dived into the waters near the island of Linosa. Linosa is a small Mediterranean island located between Italy and the African continent. According to the captain's testimony, during the dive, the two men stumbled upon a true submerged wall, about 330 feet long, made of regularly squared blocks that plunged to a depth of 200 feet. But the captain's discovery didn't end there. On the last day of diving, the two men encountered something even more curious.
A roughly human shape appeared before me. Upon closer inspection, I realized it was a kind of pharaonic idol, very crudely crafted. All these observations, aside from the presence of a large number of amphorae, which however could be and probably are the remains of some shipwreck, convinced me that I was in the presence of the remnants of an ancient civilization.
If, as we have seen with the discovery of Baiae, Boucher's observations and descriptions gave rise to an excavation campaign that brought the ancient town to light, this time the captain's account was not believed, or rather, it was thought to be a mistake. The waters surrounding Lanosa have been sailed by all the civilizations that flourished in the Mediterranean over the years. The presence of amphorae, shipwrecks, and other artifacts is not unusual at all. However, Bucher's description goes beyond these typical findings, as he described the presence of an artificial structure that would plunge into the ocean depths, which, based on its construction, seemed to be the work of an ancient civilization. As we said, this discovery didn't gain much attention and was completely forgotten within a few years. But, as we will see in the video, something very mysterious seems to be hidden in the waters of the Mediterranean. Before continuing, to fully understand the matter, we need to take a step back. According to recent studies, the level of the Mediterranean Sea was very different 8,000 years ago. Around 11,000 years ago, the last ice age ended, causing the melting of a massive amount of ice that flowed into the seas, raising ocean levels by about 260 to 330 feet. During the Ice Age, it is highly likely that the shores that now make up the Sicilian Channel were much narrower, with an estimated distance of no more than 160 or 330 feet. The islands we now recognize were probably just the highest peaks of the exposed land. These areas were likely inhabited, supported by a favorable climate that extended to what is now the North African desert, which at that time was lush with vegetation. However, we are talking about a very remote era. According to reconstructions, humans still lived in small tribes, surviving through hunting and living in caves. It is from this period that examples of cave art, like those found in the Lascaux caves in France or Altamira in Spain, date. We are therefore talking about very primitive civilizations that would only discover agriculture and establish the first settlements millennia later. For this reason, Bucher's discovery went unnoticed. The idea of identifying artificial structures in the depths of the Mediterranean seemed impossible to the scientific community, and thus it was dismissed as a mere error. But now, let's move to more recent times, specifically 2010, when Libyan news agencies reported an extraordinary discovery. The Libyan Navy allegedly located the remains of several buildings at a depth of around 130 feet in the Mediterranean, which appeared to form an ancient urban network. The exact location was not disclosed, but there were reports that some artifacts had been brought to the surface for study. Unfortunately, from 2010 to today, we have not heard any more news about this discovery. Partly due to the dramatic political and military situation in the country, following the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime, which plunged Libya into years of violence and political and social instability. So, while little more than a few news reports remain from that discovery, a much more interesting and well-documented find occurred in 2015, off the coast of the island of Pantelleria, located in the middle of the Sicilian Channel, connecting Europe to Africa. In August 2015, a team of geologists from Italy's National Institute of Oceanography and Experimental Geophysics discovered a large stone monolith at a depth of about 130 feet off the coast of Pantelleria. The monolith was dated to approximately 7,500 BC, and there is no doubt that it was an artificial structure created by humans. The monolith features several holes on its sides, and a large perforation running through it. According to researchers, it is possible that this monolith had an astronomical function, perhaps serving as a marker for the arrival of solstices or equinoxes. Clearly, this is an extremely important discovery. First of all, the monolith that was found required cutting, extraction, transportation, and installation, which reveals significant technical and engineering skills of ancient peoples to whom we don't usually attribute such capabilities. Furthermore, this discovery becomes solid evidence of the existence of ancient civilizations far more advanced than we have previously imagined. Moreover, this discovery parallels the groundbreaking find of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a site officially dated to 9,600 BC, which has rewritten the history of our origins as we knew it. Is it possible, then, that Commander Bucher really observed megalithic walls sinking into the ocean depths in 1957, and that this was not just a misjudgment? If we analyze the captain's credentials and reliability, and add the discovery of the monolith by the Institute of Oceanography along with the Libyan Navy's announcement of important buildings found in the depths of the Sicilian Channel, it is highly likely that the waters separating Europe and Africa may contain the remains of an unknown civilization. But the clues of this civilization's existence don't stop there. As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, the melting of the last ice age led to a global rise in ocean levels. And traces of civilizations buried under the sea are not limited to those found in the Sicilian Channel. For example, still in the Mediterranean, off the coast of Palestine, archaeologists have been studying the submerged ruins of Atlath Yam, Neve Yam, and Megadim since the 1980s, towns that date back about 8,000 years. Similar situations can be found in various places around the world. For example, in Japan, the underwater site of Yonaguni has monolithic structures believed to be the remains of an ancient submerged city, dating back over 10,000 years. Or the submerged city of Dwarka in India, mentioned in ancient texts as the city of the god Krishna, which, according to many researchers, dates back to at least 9,000 BC. But we don't even have to go that far. Just a few miles from where the monolith was discovered by the Institute of Oceanography, and near the site of Bucher's testimony, lies the island of Malta. Its marvelous megalithic temples have long sparked debate among researchers about their true age and origin. Or consider the cart ruts, mysterious parallel grooves carved into the limestone rock that appear to have been made by unknown heavy vehicles and are known to date back thousands of years. Additionally, there is the discovery made during the excavation of the hypogeum of Hal Saflieni in Malta, an underground complex dating back around 4,000 years. Among the many human remains found, some elongated skulls, known as dolichocephalic skulls, were discovered. As we've seen in previous videos, these skulls are connected to numerous other sites around the world. In short, the examples we've mentioned are just a few, but there are many more from various places and regions, all pointing to an ancient history we cannot ignore. Clearly, we will dedicate more in-depth videos to these locations soon. But for now, it should be clear how just analyzing a small area of the Mediterranean has revealed a series of incredible discoveries that undoubtedly demonstrate how much of our past remains shrouded in mystery. There are certainly many doubts and questions, but one thing is certain. A large part of our history lies at the bottom of the oceans, in places still unexplored, waiting to be uncovered. Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support our work and not miss our upcoming videos. Until the next story.